Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 31st episode of the ICC Biz Live, the program only with C-suite people, where they share they have spare their time and share their knowledge with us. Today we have a very qualified person, with Mr. Vivek Bhatia, MD and CEO TKIL Industries Limited, which was earlier known as ThyssenKrupp Industries India Private Limited. Uh, This is a 78-year-old enterprise with a portfolio spanning mining, material handling, mineral processing, cement, energy, green hydrogen, biochemicals, sugar plants, and cogeneration, along with an O&M service. And sir, Mr. Bhatia himself is highly qualified. He is an IIT IIM. So, and I would rather now hand over the mic to sir. Sir, request to give an introduction of yourself, please, to our audience.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh. It's certainly a pleasure to be here with you and the entire ICC team, and through you to have the opportunity to connect with so many young leaders who would be dialing in today. I'm Vivek Bhatia, and as you said, Managing Director and CEO of TKIL Industries. We are a company that was founded in the year 1947, just before India became independent. And since then, we have been very deeply engaged in the industrialization of India. We are a capital goods business active in the space of sugar industry, building sugar plants, building boilers and power plants, which is another business that we have. We have a very large mining and material handling business. We also have a cement business where we have worked with pretty much all the cement manufacturers in the country, helping them build very state-of-the-art cement plants with the highest efficiencies and highest performance levels. And we have been doing all of this while providing service and support to our customers for the plants that we have built. So we also have a very large services and O&M business. To put in context across all of these businesses, and including our services business, roughly 10,000 plus people walk into some location to help our customers, either by creating new infrastructure or by running the infrastructure that already exists. So that's us as TKIL Industries. Personally, I've been with the firm as the managing director and CEO since the year 2019. I joined on the 1st of January as the MD and CEO, and prior to that, for 6 months, was the COO, getting my arms around the business. And before that, I was regional CEO Asia Pacific with ThyssenKrupp. And before that, I was with the Boston Consulting Group for several years, working on the industrials and capital goods side of BCG's practice with clients in India and across the world. And prior to that, I had the wonderful time and experience of being a engineer with Engineers India Limited, where I worked on pretty much all the refineries in India and also some of the marquee cross-country pipeline projects in the country and also abroad. So that's a bit about me, and it's certainly a pleasure to be here with all of you today.
I mean, what a wide spectrum. Nothing to say. Now, I will come straight to the topic. Today's topic is industrial innovation for a sustainable future. Now, my question to you is, how do you define industrial innovation? Obviously, innovation means new invention, improvement, profitability. But how do you integrate sustainability with innovation?
Firstly, I think innovation is extremely important. And as a country, this is one area where we need to bring a lot more focus at all levels. So, obviously, we need the academic institutions to play a strong role in innovation. But equally, if I look at countries outside India, which have had a very successful track record of innovation, the corporates and businesses have had a significant impact in accelerating the development of new technologies and equally the adoption of new technologies. And this interface between academia and industry is a very vital interface, because at this interface, uh, that is exactly the point where disruptions and new technologies come to life. I would say the other thing about innovation is that from a corporate point of view, existing technologies, existing way of working only provides linear growth. Whereas if you look at any leading innovating company in the world, the growth is exponential. And therefore, even from a shareholder perspective, having a very, very strong line of sight into the innovation pipeline of any entity is an important marker of success. Now, to your second point on the interface of sustainability with innovation, I think this is perhaps the biggest and foremost challenge before industry and the world as we stand today. It is widely understood and actually quite visible in day to day life that we are living through a phase where global warming is a reality. And at the same time, we are also seeing that with significant population growth, the entire ecology of the world, the ecosystems of the world are under stress due to overexploitation of resources. And therefore, what has brought us here cannot carry us forward into the future that we all want to be part of and that we want to leave as a legacy for the next generation. So, therefore, something has to change. And that is where innovation and sustainability cross path, because it is only through innovation that we can create new ways of production, new kinds of products, and new ways of circularity that can ensure a sustainable future for the world. So, therefore, I am quite convinced and I am very bullish that the path to sustainability actually lies through the path of innovation.
Very, very well said, sir. But my question is that if you have you are to grow, you need energy, and for energy, if we fall on fossil fuels, then we come back to the same fossil fuels and other things. We come back to the same point now.
Absolutely. You're spot on in saying that when we look at per capita consumption of any resource, and I would say why just energy, you can look at per capita consumption of steel, per capita consumption of cement, per capita consumption of critical minerals. And if we were to, amplify that, and simply grow in a linear way, then very quickly we exhaust the resources that are available in the world, and at the same time we create a world which is completely is not the kind of world where we we would love to live in, right? We would have
Right.
damaged and caused irreparable harm to nature
Yes, sir.
and to the environment and to other species who co-inhabit the planet along with us. So, therefore, I think the crux is that innovation has to find new ways where we drastically reduce per capita consumption, but at the same time, we are able to advance the well being and economic growth that is very much required for a better quality of life and a better standard of living. Now, when it comes to the point of energy, definitely the conventional fuels provide a limitation. But the breakthrough actually comes through non conventional approaches for providing the energy that will fuel the economic growth of the future. We have seen the miracle that has been achieved already with solar energy, and already on a per kilowatt hour basis, per unit basis, solar energy is cheaper than thermal energy. Yet it still presents certain challenges, whether it is solar, whether it is wind. Many of these technologies have a certain rhythm, which may not be synchronized with the rhythm of demand. And that is where I believe the second generation of innovation is required and is well underway, which is able to synchronize generation, the rhythm of generation with the rhythm of consumption, and through that unlock the possibilities of further growth in a very, very sustainable way.
That from you, it seems sustainability is a business driver for you, your organization. And that means you pay a lot of importance to our R&D. But does our nation do that? In fact, last budget, the finance minister had to provide create resources for R&D and incentives and all that. You pay a lot of importance, but do all others do?
Well, absolutely. I think there is a growing realization that the future is going to be around these technologies. And those who move fast, the early movers, will definitely carry an advantage as we enter into this new age with new technologies. I think what the government is doing is really fantastic and commendable, because they are providing an enabling platform through which these technologies can be scaled up, through which these technologies can be tested and validated, and through which supply chains can be built to enable the future growth of all of these different technologies that are for the future. And a great example is already, as I mentioned, solar. Look at the cost of solar power. When it started in India, we were talking about 20 rupees a unit, 25 rupees a unit, and today we are at 2.5 rupees a unit. So that is 1/10 of where we were. And we have actually seen this across multiple sectors. Imagine the first mobile phone call rates, what they were, and today what we pay for mobile phone
Yeah.
calls. There is a dramatic difference, and that is the value of scaling up any technology. As
Yes,
it
sir.
grows, supply chains improve, cost efficiencies kick in, and greater adoption actually drives down the cost and affordability of each of these technologies. And this is exactly the path that will be followed by all of these green technologies and sustainable technologies in the years ahead.
Wonderful, sir. Now, I would come to what emerging technologies do you have in mind? AI. Now, question is, I have myself done a little bit of study in AI. I have seen that AI helps in industry by predictive maintenance and process optimization. What is that? And there are also I have also read that green hydrogen is a very good emerging technology for sustainability. But green hydrogen, lot of capacity building is going on, but people are not sure about the demand. And you also talked about circular economy. So I would like you to speak on these points a bit, or if you want to some AI, green hydrogen, circular economy. All this.
Let me touch upon each of these points. So, when it comes to AI, I think it is accepted and well acknowledged that this will be one of the most disruptive technologies that we have seen since the advent of widespread mass adoption of computers and internet, for that matter. And I would say, apart from AI, there will be a bunch of other things which will be highly disruptive. Quantum computing is another such example. At the same time, I think it's a very nascent technology. Everybody is trying to understand what AI is and what the various forms of AI are. And right now, we are in that phase where everybody is experimenting, everybody is tinkering around with it, everybody is trying to see what they can achieve through AI. And to give you some examples, I think AI can be very disruptive or very helpful, let me say that, in really designing projects and plants and equipment and technologies in a way that they are very efficient, factoring in multiple constraints, doing this at a scale and at a speed which was up till now not possible. And so, therefore, through AI, we can look at faster and better products and technologies in the years ahead. And this will impact green energy, this will impact pharmaceuticals, this will impact the way of working, this will impact every technology and every field that one can think of, right? At the same time, I think AI is a great tool in also identifying inefficiencies. And I perceive that one of the applications of AI will also be in saying that, what are the leakages that we see in the current usage of resources in the world. And through more efficient uses of resources in the world, again, we will be able to reduce the per capita consumption of these resources, be it minerals, be it energy resources, on a unit increase of GDP. And therefore, in that sense, AI will not only advance economic growth, but it will also advance sustainable growth as it progresses and is adopted in more and more different fields and in new areas. To your second point on green hydrogen, I'm very, very bullish about what green hydrogen can achieve for the world. Because just a few moments ago, we were talking about the rhythm of green energy and the rhythm of demand, and that there is something that is needed in between to synchronize the two. And that is really what green hydrogen is all about. It is providing a means for us to be able to capture during the solar day when the sun is out. It is providing us the opportunity to capture renewable energy, whether it is from the sun or the wind or other sources, and it allows us to store it, and it allows us to provide it when this is actually required. And then it has another benefit, because traditional sources of energy can only be used for direct application of energy, whereas green hydrogen actually opens up a pathway for greener chemicals and has the potential to disrupt the entire chemicals ecosystem in a way that it will make it increasingly sustainable. And then there is a third impact, which is, the challenge that we have of greenhouse gases, of global warming, which is triggered by carbon dioxide emissions. Today, the best we can do is CCS, which is carbon capture and storage. But it is green hydrogen that will actually unlock the path to carbon capture and usage, CCU. And that, I think, is a dramatic shift that will be enabled through the pathway of green hydrogen. So I'm personally very bullish about the impact that green hydrogen will have on the world and on sustainability, and it will truly accelerate the path to sustainability. Coming back to your third point, I think, which was on circularity. Here again, I'm I believe that the future will be driven by circularity. We cannot be on a one-way street where we extract resources and we simply, at the end of life, leave those resources unutilized and actually creating environmental pollution in the world. The future of humanity actually lies in circularity. And this is a rhythm that has been part of our ethos as a culture. If you look at what our religions have spoken about in this country, it has always been about circularity in every aspect of human existence. And therefore, I personally believe that every mineral that gets extracted actually has to find its way back into nature or back into productive economic use. And then and only then can we actually realize a world that is truly sustainable.
That means you're creating. Are you creating technology for circularity?
Absolutely. I think if you look at what we are doing, and let me give you some examples on circularity as well as on the green hydrogen side. So today, we are strategic partners and co-investors in PCR technology through Sohitech in Lausanne, in Switzerland, which is actually 2x more productive than conventional electrolyzers for green hydrogen production. And that again is a great example of innovation and disruption accelerating sustainability. Because the cheaper that green hydrogen gets, more efficient and effective and at scale its deployment can be for all the applications and impact areas that I mentioned about green hydrogen. When it comes to circularity, we have been very active in that space, and I can give you examples through our biomass oriented businesses. So, we were the first in India to pioneer the construction of two boilers, boiler technology for the use of paddy straw. And through that, we had a waste which was actually and does actually add to the pollution load in northern India, but we are able to use that waste in a very positive economic manner by burning that in a boiler and extracting productive energy which can fuel economic growth and at the same time eliminate the pollution. And while we are doing that, we are also providing livelihoods to a variety of people in rural areas. And last and most interestingly, the ash from these boilers, which is basically the residue of the combustion of this biofuel, actually goes back to the fields as a fertilizer. So, this to my mind is a perfect example of circularity and how it can yield economic benefit and at the same time, be environmentally value adding and impacting sustainability in a creative manner. Similarly, if you look at the sugar industry, where we have cane and juice is extracted, but again through molasses and through bagasse, we have found innovative pathways for power generation, for ethanol production, and a variety of biochemicals, such as, of course, ethanol, but also CBG, also, looking towards lactic acids and polylactic acids, and also towards sustainable aviation fuel. And that again is a great example of circularity, which is going beyond the traditional industry elements to really disrupt in many other sectors. So I
Are
think
you
circularity is a great possibility for industry and for the world going forward.
are you providing ethanol for blending?
So our customers who are running sugar plants are leveraging our technologies to be more efficient and are contributing in that space.
Wonderful. Now, if, I was reading recently about green technology and climate change. I was reading that India's per capita energy consumption has increased from 2,000 kilowatt hours in 2019 to more than three times today. I mean, but hearing you and such good work, it seems India's per capita energy consumption will come down in future, and yet we will grow.
Well, actually, I see a difference there in terms of where Indian per capita consumption is actually at a very low level when I compare to developed economies, right?
Okay.
Now, if we were to achieve the per capita consumption of developed economies as they exist today, we will completely destroy the environment and ecology that exists in India.
Very,
So,
very, very true.
so what actually all these technologies provide is a path to a developed India, a path to a Viksit Bharat, which is also in harmony with the environment, which is preserving the future for our children and for the generations to come, right? And it is a pathway where we can achieve developed nation status, we can achieve our vision of Viksit Bharat by being more conscious about our per capita consumptions, which will continue to rise, but will not rise to unsustainable level. And on the other
I
side, it
yeah.
will also provide a path for existing developed nations to reduce their per capita consumption to more sustainable levels.
That means the rate of growth of economy is higher than the rate of growth of consumption,
Correct.
according.
The marginal consumption of resources for economic growth will continue to fall in economics language.
Yeah, like that. So, can you talk a bit more about R&D in the whole in innovation and sustainability? What you are doing as far as in your what are you doing in your labs, basically?
Yes, so we look at R&D from multiple perspectives. So from one is of course core R&D, where we have a critical or a highly capable R&D group within our organization, but also that group is not siloed. That group is highly integrated into the broader R&D ecosystem. So if you remember earlier in our conversation, I mentioned that innovation happens at the interface between industry and academia. So we really encourage our R&D group to engage with startups, to engage with the next generation of entrepreneurs, and to exchange interface with external partners both in academia and in industry to create the next generation of products. And we leverage upon the success and developments that our partners bring, and we build upon it as one team. So that's one pathway into the R&D and innovation that we have. The second is around digital and AI. So we have two groups on digital and AI. One is really focused on the infrastructure creation side of it, which is how can we create digital infrastructure which is secure, which is scalable, which is meeting all the requirements of a complex digital environment, and also which is plural, which can talk to multiple interfaces and feedback into multiple interfaces, and deal with a diversity of different languages and ecosystems that exist in the IT landscape. And the second part of our digital innovation is really around solutions, where we are looking at client issues, client challenges, and creating software combined with hardware as solutions which can either help in utilizing the assets better, which can be predictive in providing advanced intimation on maintenance that may be required and eliminate catastrophic failure during operation, which is both improving safety outcomes but also even production outcomes. And at another level is providing detailed digital driven insights into how equipment are operating and what could be better ways to reduce the marginal utilization of resources to generate the same outcomes, right? And apart from this, we are also digitalizing our entire organization in various ways. So that I would say is the digital stack of it. And then we have a third level of innovation, which is within the individual businesses, where drawing from inspiration from the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen, we are looking at improvements in the day to day, and we are looking at how we can do things that we are doing with less and generate more, be it in the way our products are configured, be it in the speed with which we execute, or be it in general in terms of resources we consume to produce the same output, right? So that's how we look at innovation. I think one is core technological innovation, for which we have an R&D group, we have a digital innovation layer, and then we have a ongoing improvement layer. And that to me is then the innovation stack that we have at TKIL Industries.
So that means it seems to me you have integrated innovation with innovation and technology with affordability and scalability.
Absolutely, because I
How have
think,
you? Can you elaborate a bit on this integration?
well, see, for any adoption of a new technology, it has to bring with it economic benefit, right? So we
Right.
cannot have innovation products or technologies which are counter intuitive to that principle of creating economic benefit. I cannot say that there is a better solution from an economic standpoint, and I have a costlier solution for a customer, and I try to justify it, right?
Correct.
So it is very important that, and I always ask my teams, if this is a new technology, is it cost competitive and compelling today without any subsidy, right? And for me,
Okay.
that is the true test of maturity of any innovative solution. It should be, why should it require subsidy from in any form, either from the customer or from the government, for it to be acceptable? So that's the lens we apply, and that is the battle we fight every day. That we have great ideas, and how do we deliver them in a way that they are selling on their own, that they don't require a financial incentive from me or the government or from the customer or any other stakeholder for it to be adopted. And actually, many a times we surprise ourselves. To give you an example, we are able to provide digital solutions for some of our products which have a ROI of 1 year. That means the payback for the customer in terms of savings is actually 1 year. He uses it for one cycle, one 12-month calendar period, and he has recovered his entire investment. And after that, he is only saving, right? That to
Okay.
me is a great example of innovation that is creating positive sustainability outcomes and at the same time is financially attractive for everybody.
So that means you are following Atmanirbhar Bharat for quite a long time, much before our PM said so.
I think the secret or the genesis of our success lies in Atmanirbharta. And actually, that was the inspiration for the creation of our business. When in 1947, India was on the cusp of independence, our founding members of this business were inspired by the vision to make an India which will be resilient vis-a-vis its capability in terms of capital goods, in terms of its own manufacturing infrastructure. And that is what we have done since our inception. We have pioneered the sugar industry, we have pioneered the boiler industry. Today, we are the only ones with our own CFBC technology. We have pioneered the various technologies in the mining and material handling space. And today, and of course, we were one of the pioneers to start making full cement plant equipment in India. And today we are pioneering the next wave of technologies, be it bringing in the best available green hydrogen technology to India, or battery and battery enabled storage systems to India, or be it things like biochemicals evolving from the sugar ecosystem. We are trying to continue this pioneering spirit that has been a hallmark of TKIL Industries.
Now, how does innovation help in the context of critical raw materials? We have been hearing a lot about critical raw materials and their relevance in chip making and AI and all that. So, maybe not necessarily chip making, but I, I think you are using innovation to solve the challenge of raw materials also. How? Can you explain to our audience?
Well, this comes at different levels. So, firstly, they are critical raw materials, critical minerals, and they are vital for some of the new age technologies that we are looking at. And as I mentioned earlier, the marginal utilization of resources is an important parameter to look at, and that is one area where we are working towards. That how do we reduce, the marginal utilization of resources? So that is one aspect. The second aspect is the cost of extraction and production of these critical minerals. Today, they are scarce, but they are available in India. But and actually, that is the case around the world as well. Critical minerals are dispersed at a level where it is costly and challenging to mine them and extract them. So we are also looking at partnerships, technologies, and building some of that technical stacks in house also, whereby we can help reduce the cost of extraction of these critical minerals dramatically. And then the third part is circularity. We want to support the process of circularity. So we are talking about waste to energy systems, whereby there is a 99% recovery of metals in waste. And so through
Okay.
that, we are able to provide circularity and enable reuse of whatever has already been discarded, right? Which would otherwise be an environmental pollution can actually become a source on its own. So I think these are the three pathways. We are part of that effort on all of those three dimensions to reduce the marginal consumption requirements for GDP growth, to reduce the cost of extraction, and to improve the circularity. I think on all three levers, we are trying to do something on our own and also in collaboration with various partners in the industry, in India and abroad.
So, sir, honestly, I think you are really an exception in the work you are doing. But the question is, if India needs to scale up, does government have any role in this? Will public-private partnerships help? Especially if you involve the MSME sector, there's always a reluctance to adopt new. Always they think, is the cost worth it, and all that.
Well, I must firstly, underline the fact that we have really articulated a very powerful vision for India. I think the fact that we want to be Atmanirbhar, the fact that we want to make it India, the fact that we are talking about Skill India, Digital India, Swasth India, Swachh India, and we are also talking about an India which will be developed, right? Viksit Bharat. I think these are also very, very important uh, aspects to which the government has drawn the attention and has captured the imagination of the country. So I think first and foremost, government has an important role in defining a powerful and compelling vision, and that I think the government is doing very well. Now, coming to the second point, which is how do we realize that vision? There again, I must compliment the government because if we look at what has happened in India in recent years, the entire UPI stack. We are talking about UNDP. We are talking about this portal that has been created. We are talking about Gati Shakti on the infrastructure side, and we are talking about actual investment that the government, the funds and money that the government is putting in into building out the critical infrastructure of the country. There again, I think the government is doing exceptionally well. And then comes the third part, which is promoting innovation, right? And here again, the government has come up with a new initiative over the last 12 months to promote innovation uh, at all levels and at all size and scale of companies across the country. And what is particularly, something that I feel really proud about and really happy about is, this entire ecosystem of startups that has been nurtured to the point where we have so many unicorns which are now emerging out of India in such a short time frame. I think the Startup India policy again has been highly successful, and the number of incubators that we see across the length and breadth of the country, and the kind of areas that these technologies that these incubators are working on is mind-boggling. So it is not just about some digital commerce. We have startups for rockets, we have startups for green energy,
For
we have
drones
startups
also.
for water, all kinds of things. So I think all of this is coming together to make it a very vibrant environment for incubating innovation, and therefore I think the government has actually gone beyond the conventional sense or conventional model of public-private partnership, and actually they've really created an environment which is highly encouraging for innovation to thrive, both in the public space but also in the private space. And that to me is a true example of virtuous public private partnership.
Sir, I think you as a leader have encouraged startups also and have been involved in ideation with them. Am I right?
Yes, actually, we continue to actively look at various startups, and we actually feel very happy if a founder has come up with a new idea, has come up with a new technology, a new way of doing something. And what I tell every founder is that we can be your platform, and you can leverage our size, scale, and breadth to really grow that idea into, take that seed and plant it in us as a fertile soil and let it grow as a great tree.
Sir, I have a few more questions for you, but before that, I would like to open the floor for those who are watching. You are free to ask questions because not every day Mr. Bhatia. Oh, moment I said the question has come, sir, for you.
Okay, so how likely do you think would it be to get green hydrogen at commercial price levels in the next 5 years, and what role can startups play to make this a reality? Well, definitely, I think we are well on our path towards mass adoption of green hydrogen. Already, I would say that we have had tenders where the price of green hydrogen has fallen towards 320 rupees or 330 rupees a kg, and that already is very interesting because if you look at the Mirai, which is a commercially available green hydrogen car, 320 or 330 rupees per kg of hydrogen means a running cost of 3 rupees, 3.5 rupees per kilometer, compared to a diesel car which will cost you 9 rupees a kilometer. So in that sense, it's already quite compelling. Of course, there is the challenge of dispensing and transportation, which will add to some cost. But even if I double it, you're talking about 6.5, 7 rupees a kilometer versus 9 rupees a kilometer for a diesel car. So in that sense, disruption is on its way. Now, where can it get better? And it needs to get better for industrial scale adoption. Definitely, if you look at the current price of green hydrogen, I think almost two-thirds of that is driven by the cost of electricity that feeds into it. And, the challenge with green power for green hydrogen is that green power is coming at a point where it is available for 6 to 7 hours of the day, and then you need storage to make it available or you need round the clock power, which is enabled by storage, which dramatically increases the cost of power. And that's where we need more innovation, things, more improvement in battery technology or new technologies like lithium ion combined with sodium ion or vanadium based energy storage systems, which can really bring down the cost of storage, and through that bring down the cost of green hydrogen. And there I think we are not far from a tipping point where this will simply grow exponentially.
Any other questions before I answer? Okay, sir, let me ask before let you, once people ask their questions will be visible to you. My question is I have studied ESG and ESG scoring. Is there any way to measure in innovation? I mean, if I were to rank you, or if you were to rank yourself in innovation in a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rank yourself, and where would you rank other companies? Or maybe you would not like to mention about other companies, but at least is there some way we can measure innovation and R&D? How far companies are progressing?
Well, certainly there are various metrics, I think, but each metric is not perfect. So you can find approximate indicators. One is, of course, how much money do we spend on innovation, right? Uh,
Okay.
Many economies, leading economies, developed economies, high innovation economies spend somewhere around 2 to 3% of GDP on R&D, and India that number is in decimal points, right? So it's very small. But the challenge with that metric is that in India a small spend goes a long way. We were able to send a probe to Mars at a per kilometer cost which is lower than the auto rickshaw that we take every day, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
the Indian innovation cost is very frugal but has very incredible outcomes. So, but definitely, I think where we are in terms of percentage spend on R&D versus GDP, I think that metric is an important one to look at. And I would personally say at 1% of GDP, we would perhaps do justice to the innovation potential that we have in this country. I think we definitely need to cross that as a threshold and then reflect again, do we need how much more we should be doing, right? So that's one at a country level. But I think you can drill that down to a corporate level as well. And every corporate, I believe, should aspire to be at 2.5% of turnover being spent towards R&D and innovation. I don't think I am there personally. We are working towards it, but definitely it's an aspiration we should carry. And also, I think there are two parts to it. One is to spend the money. The third is to spend it wisely. The second is to spend it wisely. And that is where I think we are focused on. Whatever we have, we want to spend it wisely and generate the maximum return on whatever we are doing. But gradually, we want to push our investments and spending on innovation further and further up towards that number. The third way to look at this is definitely through patents and new products that have been launched. And there, I think we are doing quite well every year. We aspire to create new patents through our organization, through our people, and that we are doing consistently over the last many years. So, uh, obviously for strategic reasons, for confidentiality reasons, I cannot give you the exact numbers that we have, but definitely on all three metrics, spend, outcome from spend, and or frugality of the spend, and also in terms of patents and new products launch, we are quite active on all three spaces.
So on patents, I myself have interacted with several academia and have heard that some professors, professor emeritus, have developed patents in their respective domains. And you also mentioned about industry academia interaction. I mean, are you personally encouraging academia for R&D and innovation?
Absolutely. So, recently I had the possibility to lead a delegation of Indian industry into Australia. And I made it a point that the entire delegation visited one of the leading universities during that trip to Australia. And even in India, in every conference that I chair, I ask the organizing committee to make sure that we are, whichever city it's in, I make it a point to ask them to reserve two tables for students and faculty from whichever is the leading and relevant institution in that city or nearby cities to come and attend that event, because at no cost, right? So it's complimentary. So the whole idea is to create opportunities for industry and academia to find common platforms for interaction, and to provide exposure, because if academia and students don't understand what the industry is talking about, how can they take that impulse back and create something new which is relevant for the industry? So I think the first step is conversation. Second, I think actually it's a trifecta. There is academia, there is industry, and in between is a startup. And I think that's a very important element of that piece, to really encourage startups to be the bridge between academia and industry, right? Because they can operate in different ways, in creative ways, to solve difficult problems while leveraging the benefit of industry and overcoming their challenges, and leveraging the benefits of academia while overcoming their limitations, right? And so therefore I think the startup ecosystem in academic institutions is a very powerful lever to drive innovation.
Any more public questions? Anyone? Welcome to please put it. Now, sir, as time is running out, one last question. I think you are a believer in lifelong learning and continuous skill upgradation. And can you elaborate on this? How do you do this? You implement this across your organization. Yes, some elaboration on this.
Well, firstly, let's talk about my life itself. So I think I did my engineering, and a few years after doing my engineering, I also did my master's, and then a few years after that, I also went out and did my MBA. So given an opportunity, I might even do a PhD. So I think personally, I really and every convocation that I've addressed, I always, one of the key messages I give to children is stay curious and be a sponge, try to learn as much as you can. I think that is undeniably the most important thing that one can do to be relevant and to be able to keep pace with the way the world is changing and the innovations that are happening. So I think this is a non-negotiable for anybody at any point in time in their career. Within our organization, we do it in several ways. One is, I think, we facilitate rotation so that many people, as they grow in the organization, are also exposed to different parts and different products and different technologies within the organization, where they can learn and also contribute from their unique perspective. Second, we also encourage continuing education. So, like I benefited in my career, we encourage people in our organization to step out and go for a master's, to go for an MBA, to acquire skills from outside the organization through short programs in various means and manners. And of course, we are constantly feeding people into various kinds of events and sessions so that people are not stagnant in terms of their thinking and mindset, but are actually gaining and learning new things and finding creative ways to use that knowledge that they're gaining on an ongoing basis. So we actually track learning and competencies that people are acquiring very, very closely.
Thank you, sir. I mean, unless if there are any public questions, if any more questions come, I will forward them to you. And I would like to end today's conversation with just one line. I became Dr. Ghosh at the age of 55 this year.
Very nice. So impressive and so
Now,
inspiring.
another question has come. Another question has come.
Just one follow-up question. India is launching an intensity-based carbon market as compared to a cap-and-trade mechanism. So, do you think it will be possible to abate the cross-border adjustment mechanism through this form of carbon market? Well, I think if we think of carbon as a cost, then I think we are missing the opportunity. We have to think of carbon as an opportunity. And what do I mean by that? So, if we say that I'm going to collect the carbon and not use it economically, then it's going to be a burden. But if I'm going to abate the carbon, in creative means, firstly, it will unlock more interesting markets. Could be Europe, could be a different segment of customers who are willing to pay a premium for sustainability. And at the same time, gain the economic benefit of carbon that is captured, by feeding it into new economic streams. And that is, I think, that is where the secret is. So I am not too, as I said earlier, I don't like to depend on policy as a driver of economic success. I rather like to depend on the inherent financial viability and economic viability of any solution. So usually I don't worry too much about whether it will be a cap and trade or whether it will be an intensity based thing. I focus on, can we make it value creating, right? And if we can add value, then I think irrespective of the regulation, we can be successful as industry. So not a direct answer, but I hope you got the drift of what my thought process is and how I reflect on these issues. Yeah.
Any more questions? Then we have to close this. So I would not personally like to close, but anyway, like I said, all good things come to an end.
So,
Sir, no more questions. We are ending now.
From my side, Dr. Ghosh, thank you for asking such deep and insightful questions. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here in conversation with you and engaging with the broader audience that has joined us today. Thank you for the opportunity and the platform to be able to share my views.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.